We understand what truly matters. Life has a way of bombarding us with distractions. Every day we wake up to a flood of information, opinions, demands, and expectations. From the moment we open our eyes, the world tries to pull us in 1,000 different directions. And it's easy to get lost in that chaos, to care about every little thing, to give weight to every criticism, every minor setback, every fleeting worry. But here's the question: how much of that noise actually deserves your time and your heart? You see, the first step in learning to act like you don't care is to understand what really matters. Because not everything in life is worth your attention. Not every argument, not every opinion, not every problem deserves the emotional energy you bring to it. If you try to care about everything, you end up exhausted, overwhelmed, and scattered. You become a slave to external circumstances instead of the master of your own destiny. Think about your own life for a moment. How many times have you lost sleep over something that in hindsight barely mattered? How many hours have you wasted stressing about a passing comment, a missed opportunity, or someone's judgment? If you're honest, you'll admit that much of the stress, anxiety, and pain you carry is self-inflicted because you gave power to things that don't deserve it. Here's the powerful truth: caring selectively is a skill, it's a discipline. And mastering it means you gain control over your emotional world. Imagine what your life would look like if you woke up every morning knowing exactly where to put your focus. Imagine the freedom of not being dragged down by the opinions or actions of others. Imagine the peace that comes with knowing that your energy is reserved only for what truly deserves it. He said, when you begin to filter what matters, you start to prioritize. And prioritization is a game changer. It's like having a compass that always points you toward what will grow you, what will move you forward, and what will nurture your soul. You start saying no to the distractions and yes to your purpose. This means you don't get caught in petty arguments that don't serve you. You don't waste your time trying to prove yourself to people who don't respect your value. You don't carry the weight of things beyond your control. Instead, you reserve your energy for your goals, your relationships that matter, your health, and your personal growth. And make no mistake, this is not about being indifferent or cold. It's about being wise. It's about choosing your battles like a seasoned warrior who knows that winning every fight isn't necessary, only the important ones. When you care about everything, you lose your power. When you care about what matters, you become unstoppable. The world will always throw challenges your way. People will criticize, disappoint, and let you down. Life will test you relentlessly. But your strength lies in how you decide to respond. When you understand what truly matters, you refuse to waste your precious time and energy on things that drain you. This mindset will protect you from unnecessary pain. You'll no longer be at the mercy of every passing emotion or reaction. Instead, you become the calm in the storm. You build resilience not by hardening your heart, but by sharpening your focus. And that focus acts like a shield, keeping out the noise so you can hear your own voice, your true purpose. Learning to act like you don't care about the trivial frees you to care deeply about what counts. It's a paradox that many miss. The less you try to control everything, the more you can fully embrace the things that deserve your attention. You become selective about where you invest your love, your time, and your energy, and that selectivity is a form of self-respect. Imagine the relationships you could build, the goals you could achieve, and the peace you could feel if you truly cared only about what aligns with your values. Imagine not being pulled down by every criticism or distraction, but rising above it with clarity and grace. This is where power begins, not in caring less to be cold, but in caring wisely to be free. Detach from external validation. There's a hidden trap many people fall into without even realizing it: the need to be liked, accepted, or approved by others. From a young age, we are taught to seek approval from parents, teachers, friends, and society at large. That craving for external validation becomes a silent driver behind many of our choices, actions, and even our self-worth. But here's the problem. When your sense of value depends on what others think, you surrender your power. Imagine living every day walking on eggshells, constantly trying to please, constantly looking for signs of approval. That's a heavy burden. It's exhausting. And it's a life built on shaky ground. Because no matter how hard you try, the opinions of others are unpredictable and uncontrollable. Some people will like you, others won't. Some will celebrate you, others will criticize. And that's okay. It doesn't mean you are any less worthy. Detaching from external validation isn't about becoming arrogant or uncaring about others. It's about freeing yourself from the need to have your worth confirmed by someone else. When you stop chasing approval, you stop living for others. You start living for yourself. Think about what it would feel like to wake up each morning without the weight of needing someone's thumbs up or nod of acceptance. To make decisions not because you want to be liked, but because they align with your values and your vision. That kind of freedom is priceless. When you tie your self-esteem to what others say, you hand them the keys to your happiness. One negative comment can crush your spirit. One ignored text can shatter your confidence. One social media post with few likes can ruin your day. But when you break free from that, you regain control. This detachment requires courage, because it means you will sometimes face disapproval or misunderstanding. You might lose some friends or disappoint some people. But here's the secret. Those who truly matter won't withdraw their respect just because you stop bending to their expectations. The right people will honor your authenticity. Living for external validation creates a cage around your soul. It limits your creativity, your voice, your ability to take risks. When you're constantly worried about what others think, you play small. You shrink yourself to fit a mold that isn't yours. But detaching from that need lets you expand into who you are meant to be. You start to make choices based on your own judgment, your own heart. You say no without guilt, yes with intention. Your actions become aligned with your purpose, not with the fleeting moods or opinions of others. That alignment brings clarity and confidence. Imagine how much energy you waste trying to prove yourself to people who may never appreciate you. Imagine the relief when you stop carrying that weight. When you care less about being liked and more about being authentic, you tap into a wellspring of strength. This shift also transforms your relationships. When you stop needing approval, you stop attracting people who only want to use or manipulate you. Instead, you draw those who respect and value you for who you truly are. That creates bonds rooted in truth, not fear or dependency. The process isn't always easy. It takes practice and self-awareness. You'll notice old habits creeping in, seeking validation in a compliment, worrying about judgment, doubting yourself. But each time you recognize it, you reclaim your power a little more. Remember, your value is inherent. It is not earned or lost based on someone else's opinion. Detaching from external validation is about recognizing that truth and living by it. This doesn't mean you become indifferent to feedback or blind to growth. It means you filter what matters from what doesn't. You listen to constructive input without letting it define you. You seek improvement, not approval. By acting like you don't care about external validation, you build resilience against criticism and rejection. You develop a foundation of self-worth that no one can shake. And from that foundation, you step into your fullest potential, bold, confident, and free. Control your reactions, not others' opinions. One of the most freeing realizations you can have in life is this: you cannot control what other people think or say about you. Opinions are like the weather, ever-changing, unpredictable, and completely outside of your control. Yet, so many of us waste endless hours and tremendous emotional energy trying to influence those opinions, or worse, letting them dictate how we feel about ourselves. The truth is, the power does not lie in others' judgments. It lies in your response to them. You get to decide how you react. You get to decide what weight their words carry in your life. And when you truly embrace this, you unlock a level of personal freedom that few ever experience. Imagine for a moment the sheer amount of energy spent worrying about what people think. How many times have you replayed a conversation, agonizing over how you were perceived? How often have you avoided pursuing a dream because you feared judgment or criticism? That energy, those hours, are priceless, yet we give them away for free to the wrong people, to the wrong ideas, to the wrong opinion. You cannot control the storm of others' thoughts, but you can control the shelter you build around your mind. That shelter is your reaction. You might hear harsh criticism or unfair judgment, but you don't have to internalize it. You don't have to carry it with you. Instead, you can observe it, learn from it if it has value, and then let it go, like a leaf in the wind. The moment you stop reacting emotionally to every opinion or slight, you gain power over your inner world. Your peace becomes invincible because it no longer depends on external forces. When people doubt you, it no longer shakes your foundation. When they criticize you, it no longer wounds your spirit. Instead, you respond with calm, clarity, and confidence. Controlling your reactions is not about suppressing feelings or pretending you're unaffected. It's about mastering yourself, choosing which emotions to feed and which to starve. You acknowledge your feelings without letting them hijack your decisions or define your self-worth. There's a deep emotional strength in this choice. It means you refuse to be a hostage to negativity. You refuse to give strangers the power to dictate your happiness or your sense of self. Instead, you own your feelings and your actions. This mindset shift changes everything. You begin to see criticism as information, not as an attack. You learn to differentiate between useful feedback and baseless opinion. You realize that some voices are simply noise, and your job is to turn down the volume. By controlling your reactions, you create space to focus on what truly matters, your goals, your values, your growth. You no longer waste time arguing with everyone who disagrees or trying to change the minds of those unwilling to listen. Instead, you conserve your energy for constructive efforts and meaningful relationships. Think about how liberating it feels when you no longer have to react defensively or anxiously to every comment or judgment. You become the calm eye in the storm, steady and unwavering. People notice this about you. They see your confidence, your resilience, your ability to stand firm in your truth. But more importantly, you notice it about yourself. You feel empowered because you are no longer at the mercy of outside forces. You are the master of your emotional landscape. It's important to understand this isn't a skill you master overnight. Old habits die hard. You'll slip up and react emotionally at times. But every moment you pause before reacting, every time you choose calm over chaos, you strengthen your control. This control doesn't mean you close yourself off or become indifferent to what happens around you. It means you engage with the world from a place of strength, not vulnerability. You pick your battles wisely and don't allow every opinion to pull you off course. Ultimately, the greatest freedom in life is freedom from the opinions of others. When you control your reactions instead of trying to control others' thoughts, you reclaim your power. You live life on your terms, undeterred by the noise, criticism, or doubt that once held you back. Protect your emotional energy. Every single day, your emotional energy is under attack. It's a precious resource, fragile and finite. The world around you demands attention, pulls on your heartstrings, and tries to drain your spirit in subtle and obvious ways. Yet most people give away this energy without realizing its true value. They let their emotions be hijacked by every criticism, every conflict, every careless word spoken in passing. But here's the truth. If you don't protect your emotional energy, you will be exhausted, defeated, and far from your best self. Emotional energy is like a battery that powers your mind, your will, your motivation. When it's full, you can handle challenges, face setbacks, and keep pushing forward. When it's drained, even the smallest obstacle feels overwhelming, and your confidence begins to crumble. The question is, who or what are you giving that energy to? Are you spending it on things and people who lift you up, or are you pouring it into places that only leave you empty? Think about the times when someone's words hurt you deeply, maybe a harsh criticism, a betrayal, or a moment of rejection. How long did you carry that pain? How often did it replay in your mind, draining your focus and your joy? That's emotional energy leaking away. You don't owe your energy to every situation or every person. You have the right, no, the responsibility to protect it fiercely. But protecting your emotional energy means becoming selective about what you let into your heart and mind. It means recognizing when a situation isn't worth your mental or emotional involvement. Not everything deserves your tears, your anger, or your worry. When you care too much about everything, you become vulnerable to being worn down by the endless drama and noise of life. There's a difference between being compassionate and being consumed. Compassion lifts others while keeping your heart intact. Being consumed by every problem or opinion destroys your inner peace. You have to learn to stand at a distance from things that threaten to drain you without losing your humanity. This doesn't mean you become indifferent or cold. It means you become wise and protective. You build boundaries. You refuse to be emotionally available to negativity, gossip, toxic criticism, or drama that doesn't serve your growth. Imagine your emotional energy as a fortress. Every time you let unnecessary pain or negativity inside, you chip away at the walls. But every time you draw a line, say no, or walk away from a harmful situation, you strengthen your defenses. You create a sanctuary where your spirit can heal, grow, and thrive. This is a form of self-respect. When you protect your emotional energy, you send a powerful message to yourself and the world that your well-being matters. You are not a bottomless well for others to draw from without giving back. You are a human being with limits, deserving of care and preservation. Many people struggle with this because they confuse caring with sacrificing their energy. They believe that if they don't give their all, they are selfish or weak. But the opposite is true. Protecting your emotional energy is a strength. It's the foundation for resilience, clarity, and sustained success. When you learn to guard your energy, you free yourself from exhaustion and burnout. You gain the capacity to face life's challenges with renewed strength. You become a beacon of calm and chaos rather than a victim swept away by every emotional tide. Also, protecting your emotional energy helps you focus on what truly deserves it, your dreams, your loved ones, your growth. Instead of wasting your vitality on pointless worries or toxic people, you invest it where it multiplies and fuels your progress. Take a moment and reflect on who and what you allow to drain your energy. Are there relationships that consistently leave you feeling depleted? Are there habits or thoughts that steal your peace? Are you carrying burdens that aren't yours to bear? Recognizing these drains is the first step toward reclaiming your energy. You have a choice every day to guard your heart or let it be battered. The choice to protect your emotional energy is the choice to protect your future. Because the more you conserve your spirit, the more you can pour into your purpose. When you act like you don't care about the unnecessary noise and negativity, you aren't being careless, you're being smart. You are choosing survival, growth, and inner peace over chaos, confusion, and exhaustion. Focus on your own growth, not others' opinions. One of the greatest challenges in life is breaking free from the weight of other people's opinions. It's natural to want to be accepted, to feel valued, and to avoid judgment. But when you let the thoughts and expectations of others steer your course, you lose sight of the most important person in your journey, you. Your true progress depends not on what others think of you, but on how you grow, evolve, and improve day by day. Growth is a personal journey, unique to your values, your goals, and your experiences. It can't be measured by likes, comments, or the approval of those around you. It doesn't fit neatly into the boxes that society often creates. And when you spend your energy worrying about what others think, You tie your growth to their limited perspectives rather than your boundless potential. Think about the times you held back from pursuing a dream because you feared criticism or rejection. Maybe you hesitated to speak up, to start a new project, or to change your path because you worried about what others would say. That hesitation costs you more than you realize. It costs you your future. The truth is, when you focus on your own growth, you become unstoppable. You begin to measure your success by your own standards, not by someone else's approval. This shift is liberating because it puts the power back in your hands. You stop chasing validation and start chasing excellence, progress, and self-mastery. Growth requires focus. It demands your attention and your energy. But when you divide that attention by constantly worrying about others' opinions, your progress slows, sometimes to a halt. It's like trying to run a race while carrying heavy weights on your back. You can do it, but not without pain and struggle. Now imagine removing those weights, shedding the need for approval and the fear of judgment. Suddenly your pace quickens. You move with confidence and clarity. Every step forward is driven by your passion and your vision, not by the desire to fit in or be liked. Focusing on your own growth also means embracing failure and criticism differently. Instead of letting a negative comment wound you deeply, you see it as feedback, a tool for improvement, rather than a verdict on your worth. You learn from your mistakes and keep moving forward because your growth is a process, not a destination. This mindset transforms how you view setbacks. Instead of fear or shame, you feel curiosity and determination. You know that every challenge is an opportunity to become stronger, wiser, and more resilient. And because your progress isn't tied to others' opinions, their doubts can't stop you. It's important to realize that not everyone will understand your journey or support your vision. And that's okay. Growth is personal, and not everyone is meant to be part of your path. When you stop seeking universal approval, you create space for authentic relationships with those who truly believe in you and your dreams. By focusing on your own growth, you also cultivate a powerful form of self-respect. You honor your time, your energy, and your purpose. You choose actions that align with your goals, even when they're difficult or unpopular. This dedication builds confidence that no opinion can shake. This focus sharpens your sense of identity. You become clear about who you are and what you stand for. You don't mold yourself to fit others' expectations, but grow into your fullest self, flaws, strengths, and all. This authenticity attracts people who appreciate the real you rather than a version crafted to please. Remember, the greatest legacy you can leave is not how others saw you, but how you grew and contributed during your lifetime. When you focus on your own growth, you invest in a future built on purpose, passion, and fulfillment. Choosing growth over others' opinions is a courageous act. It means stepping into the unknown with faith in yourself. It means risking rejection for the chance to become who you were meant to be. But the rewards are immense. A life of meaning, freedom, and true achievement. As you walk this path, keep your eyes on your own progress. Celebrate your victories, learn from your stumbles, and never let the noise of others' judgments drown out your inner voice. That voice knows your worth, your potential, and your dreams better than anyone else ever will. Emotional detachment is often misunderstood. Many think it means becoming cold, indifferent, or uncaring. But true emotional detachment is not about shutting down your feelings or turning off your heart. It's about creating a healthy distance between your emotions and your decisions. It's the skill of observing your feelings without letting them overwhelm your mind or cloud your judgment. Why is this so important? Because emotions, powerful as they are, can sometimes distort reality. When we get swept up in anger, fear, or anxiety, our thinking becomes reactive instead of reflective. We make choices based on temporary feelings rather than long-term wisdom. That leads to regret, confusion, and setbacks. Learning to detach emotionally doesn't mean ignoring what you feel. It means acknowledging your emotions, accepting them, but refusing to let them control your actions. It means becoming the calm observer in the midst of the storm. able to see clearly even when your heart is pounding. Imagine a moment when you received criticism or faced a difficult situation. The immediate surge of emotion might be hurt, frustration, or defensiveness. Those feelings are valid, but if you act solely on them, you might say or do things that escalate the problem or damage relationships. Emotional detachment helps you pause, take a breath, and respond thoughtfully instead. This skill gives you clarity. It opens space for rational thinking and problem solving. You start to see the bigger picture instead of being blinded by momentary pain or joy. You gain the ability to separate facts from feelings, which is essential for wise decision-making. Emotional detachment is a form of self-control. It's not suppression or avoidance. It's mastery. When you practice it, you don't react impulsively or get swept away by drama. Instead, you respond with intention and purpose. You become the author of your story, not a character tossed by emotional tides. This clarity also helps in managing relationships. When you detach emotionally, you avoid unnecessary conflicts and misunderstandings. You listen better because you're not caught up in your own emotional reactions. You communicate more effectively because you speak from calmness, not chaos. Moreover, emotional detachment protects your mental health. Living in constant emotional turmoil is draining and unsustainable. By creating healthy boundaries between your emotions and your actions, you preserve your energy and cultivate peace within. Learning this skill requires practice. It's normal to feel overwhelmed at times. The key is to recognize when your emotions are hijacking your thoughts and gently bring yourself back to center. Techniques like mindfulness, deep breathing, or journaling can support this process by helping you observe your feelings without judgment. Another way to practice emotional detachment is by reminding yourself that emotions are temporary. They come and go like waves. Just because you feel angry or sad now doesn't mean those feelings will last forever or define you. Holding on to that truth gives you strength to weather emotional storms without losing your balance. When you act like you don't care in the sense of emotional detachment, you're not being indifferent to life's challenges, you're being wise. You're choosing to engage with situations from a place of strength and clarity rather than confusion and reaction. That choice makes you resilient and steady in the face of adversity. This detachment also frees you from the need to control every outcome or every person's response. You accept that some things are beyond your influence and that your peace depends on how you manage your own emotions. That acceptance is liberating. As you cultivate emotional detachment, you gain a powerful inner calm. You become less reactive and more proactive. You create space for thoughtful action instead of impulsive reaction. This calm presence draws others toward you and inspires confidence and respect. In the end, practicing emotional detachment is an act of self-love. It's a commitment to yourself that your peace and clarity matter above all. It's the foundation for lasting strength, clear thinking, and purposeful living. Embrace freedom by letting go of approval. One of the heaviest burdens you can carry in life is the need for approval. It weighs you down, limits your choices, and keeps you tethered to the expectations of others rather than the truth of who you are. Freedom begins the moment you release this need. When you stop living to please everyone and start living to please the one person who truly matters, yourself. Approval seeking is a trap. It feels safe because it promises acceptance, but it comes at the cost of your authenticity. You begin to mold yourself into what others want, sacrificing your dreams, your values, your happiness. And no matter how much approval you collect, it's never enough because it's based on external validation, which is always fleeting. Letting go of approval means stepping off that exhausting treadmill. It means choosing freedom over fear. When you stop worrying about who likes you or who disapproves, you reclaim your power. You begin to live on your own terms, driven by your passions, your goals, and your convictions. This freedom isn't careless disregard for others' feelings. It's It's not about being rude or dismissive. It's a deep, unwavering respect for your own worth and your right to be yourself. When you embrace this mindset, you become unstoppable because your actions come from a place of purpose, not permission. Think about how much energy you've wasted trying to fit in or avoid criticism. How many dreams have you shelved because you feared judgment? How many moments of joy did you miss because you were busy trying to be someone you're not? That energy, that time, is yours to reclaim. When you let go of approval, you create space for true growth. You stop asking, what will they think, and start asking, what do I want? You pursue your path with confidence, knowing that your worth isn't dependent on applause or rejection. This shift brings immense peace. No longer do you live in the shadows of others' opinions. You step into the light of your own truth, and that light shines brighter than any external validation ever could. It's important to recognize that this process is not easy. Fear of rejection is powerful because humans are wired to seek connection and belonging. But belonging starts with belonging to yourself. When you accept and approve of yourself first, the approval of others becomes secondary and far less necessary. Embracing freedom also means embracing imperfection. You stop hiding your flaws to gain approval and instead see them as part of your unique story. You realize that perfection is an illusion created by others' expectations, and true strength comes from authenticity. This freedom transforms your relationships too. When you're not desperate for approval, you attract people who appreciate you for who you really are. Your connections deepen because they're based on honesty, not performance. Living without the need for approval doesn't mean you become isolated or indifferent. It means you engage with the world from a place of strength and self-respect. You contribute your voice without fear, take risks without hesitation, and pursue your dreams with relentless passion. Letting go of approval frees you to become the best version of yourself. It empowers you to set boundaries, say no when necessary, and stand firm in your decisions. You become the captain of your own ship, navigating by your own stars, not by the shifting winds of others' opinions. As you embrace this freedom, you realize it's a gift you give yourself every day, a gift of peace, power, and possibility. You learn that the only approval you truly need is your own, and with it, you can face any challenge, overcome any obstacle, and create a life that is truly yours. Learning to act like you don't care isn't about becoming numb or indifferent to life. It's about reclaiming your power, protecting your peace, and choosing what truly deserves your energy. It's about standing tall amid the noise, free from the chains of approval, criticism, and distraction. When you master this art, you gain clarity. You focus on your growth, maintain your emotional strength, and face challenges with a steady heart. You become the person who moves forward no matter what storms arise, because your strength comes from within, not from the fleeting judgments of others. So start today. Guard your emotional energy fiercely. Detach from the unnecessary drama. Focus on your journey and release the need for constant approval. In doing so, you don't just survive, you thrive. You become unstoppable. Remember, the greatest freedom comes when you stop caring about what holds you back and start caring deeply about what propels you forward. Let go of the noise, embrace your truth, and live boldly on your own terms. Because at the end of the day, your life is yours, and it's waiting for you to show up fully, fearlessly, and unapologetically.